Lately, I've been in the mood for some more Joe Pesci because I rewatched Goodfellas. So I watched the film My Cousin Vinny, which seemed to more prominently feature Joe Pesci, and is also seen as a classic film starring him. But after watching it, I am thoroughly disappointed. A little of the way through the film, I realized that this was a comedy, and then I was immediately very sad. Quite honestly, I'm not a big fan of most comedy films, because usually there's just not a lot going on. If you're not laughing at all the scenes, then you're usually just gonna sit there being very bored. And usually in most comedies, I don't find myself being very much entertained by any of the comedy. And in most comedies, there isn't a lot going on other than the comedy itself. Not very interesting screenplay-wise, not very interesting in terms of cinematography or anything such as that. There's not really a lot for you unless you're enjoying the comedy. And nothing about it is completely horrible, but there's nothing super memorable about this film either. And in fact, some parts can be a little bad. Like in certain scenes, the acting can fall kind of flat.
I'll learn it as I go.
Learn as you go.
Learn as you go. The best word I can think to describe this movie is awkward. There's so many parts with just like weird, awkward silences, and like that's the joke, or like somebody just gets weirded out and stops talking. That and like misunderstanding jokes, like that's the other big thing. But some of those, I don't even get it. It's like, and it goes on for so long. That's another thing. So many of the jokes in this movie, they just go on and on and on forever. You know, hearing people complain about the newer Family Guy cutaway gags that will just take up like half the episode, that's this movie. Like, this movie is just like filled with bits that will just go on forever and ever and ever, and they just never end. The only time the movie starts really getting good is near like the last 30 minutes. But that's only because that's when things actually start happening. The rest of the movie is just slowly building up to this one part, but even this one part isn't even that satisfying. And the reason I might like this last part too is also just because I watch a lot of Law and Order, but that's besides the point. Everything up until like the last 30 minutes of the movie is just like walking around this little bumblefuck town and Joe Pesci being dumb in court. That's it. That's the whole movie for most of it. There's also this subplot with some guy that like I guess hustled his girlfriend and got a bunch of money from her or something. Joe Pesci challenges him so he can get the money back, and he basically just like makes the dude look stupid overall, and it has like nothing to do with the rest of the movie. I think the implication might have been that he used the money that he got from that guy to clean up his suit, but the movie doesn't really outright say anything about this, so it just feels like a waste of time, especially when you don't find it funny. The movie also has this big scene about his girlfriend like understanding cars very well. More near the end of the movie, there's a scene showing that the last piece of evidence involves tire marks. So immediately once I hear that, I'm like, oh, I wonder if his girlfriend's gonna come in and like be an expert witness on this or something. And I didn't think this was meant to be like a big like reveal, like, whoa, see, now he's bringing her in, but there's such a big build up to it for no reason. And that's all I really have to say about this film. It's not the worst movie I've ever seen, but it's definitely one of the most boring. Probably wouldn't recommend you see it. 4 out of 10.
If I was in your situation, I'd want to get through this whole thing as quickly and as little pain as possible.